I stepped into the bustling shopping center. The sound of chatter and clinking dishes enveloping me like a warm hug. The smell of the food court wafted through the air, a savory mix of Asian cuisine, Italian delicacies, and sweet treats that made my stomach growl with hunger. I had been looking forward to this day off all week, and I was determined. I stepped into the bustling shopping center. The sound of chatter and clinking dishes enveloping me like a warm hug. The smell of the food court wafted through the air, a savory mix of Asian cuisine, Italian delicacies, and sweet treats that made my stomach growl with hunger. I had been looking forward to this day off all week, and I was determined to make the most of it. My friend, Rachel, walked beside me, chatting excitedly about her latest dating disaster. I listened intently, nodding and making supportive noises, but my mind was elsewhere. Today was a special day, my 2-year anniversary with Ethan. I had been racking my brain for weeks, trying to come up with the perfect gift. Ethan was my first boyfriend, and I wanted to make this milestone count. The problem was, he was being notoriously unhelpful. Every time I asked him what he wanted, he'd brush it off with a casual, "Oh, I don't care." It was frustrating, to say the least. As we walked through the crowded corridors, the sound of laughter and music filled the air. We passed by a group of rowdy teenagers, their eyes fixed on their phones as they giggled and snapped selfies. The floor beneath my feet was cool and smooth, a sleek expanse of polished tile that seemed to stretch on forever. I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation building in my chest, mixed with a dash of anxiety. What if I got him something he hated? Rachel and I had been friends since high school, and she knew me better than almost anyone. She was the first person I'd turned to when I needed advice on what to get Ethan. We'd spent hours poring over online reviews and browsing through stores, but nothing seemed quite right. That was when I spotted it, a small store tucked away in a corner of the shopping center, with a sign that read "Creamy" in bold letters. The store was tiny, with shelves stacked high with colorful boxes and strange-looking machines. The sales assistant, a friendly woman with a warm smile, greeted us as we entered. "Welcome to Creamy. We've got some amazing deals on our Ninja Swirl machines today." She gestured to a sleek, silver device that looked like a cross between a blender and a spaceship. "This baby can make ice cream, sorbet, and even frozen yogurt. And with our special promotion, you can get it for just $477. I felt a surge of excitement. This could be it, the perfect gift. Ethan loved ice cream, and the idea of him experimenting with different flavors and ingredients was too cute to resist. Plus, it was something he could share with his family, and the soft serve feature looked like a blast. I turned to Rachel, who raised an eyebrow. "It's a bit pricey, isn't it?" she said. I hesitated, unsure, but then remembered the $300 gift card I'd been holding onto for months. It was burning a hole in my pocket, and I wanted to use it for something special. "I've got a gift card," I said to Rachel, "and it's not like I'm spending all my own money. Plus, it's our 2-year anniversary. I want to make it count." Rachel nodded, a supportive smile on her face. "If you're sure, then go for it. It's a unique gift, and he might really appreciate it." I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of confidence wash over me. "I'll do it," I said, turning to the sales assistant. "I'll take the Ninja Swirl machine." The sales assistant beamed, ringing up the purchase with a flourish. As we left the store, the machine safely tucked away in a bag, I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. I couldn't wait to see Ethan's face when I gave it to him. But as the day drew to a close, my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. "Oh, here's a shirt you could get me for our anniversary," he said, sending me a link to a website. I felt a surge of annoyance. Didn't he know I'd already gotten him a gift? And why was he sending me this now, when I didn't have time to go shopping? I typed out a response, trying to keep my tone light. "I've already gotten you a gift, silly. And besides, I don't have time to go shopping before our anniversary. You should have told me earlier." But as I hit send, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Why was Ethan being so last minute? And what did he really want for our anniversary? Anyway, the questions swirled in my mind as I drifted off to sleep. The sound of the city outside my window, a distant hum. I had no idea what the next day would bring, but I was determined to make our anniversary special, no matter what. Little did I know, the real drama was only just beginning. Pause 1. I stood in the cold winter evening, the chill of the air biting at my skin as I watched him walk towards me. A mixture of excitement and nervousness swirling in my chest. The sound of my boots clicking on the pavement echoed through the quiet streets, the only sound breaking the silence of the night. I had spent hours agonizing over what to get him for our 2-year anniversary, and I was determined to make it special. The memory of the Apple Watch debacle still lingered in my mind, a painful reminder of my past mistakes. I had been so careful this time, poring over every store in the shopping center, searching for the perfect gift. As he approached, I couldn't help but notice the way the streetlights cast a warm glow on his face, illuminating the sharp features that I had grown to love. His eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief, and I felt my heart skip a beat as he smiled at me. I took a deep breath, the cold air filling my lungs, and handed him the gift. The wrapping paper crinkled in his hands as he unwrapped it, revealing the Ninja Swirl creamy machine. At first, his eyes lit up with excitement, and he asked me how much it was. I told him not to worry about the cost, but he pressed me for an answer. I hesitated, feeling a twinge of uncertainty before telling him the price. He smiled and said he liked it, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. But as the night wore on, I started to notice a change in his demeanor. He seemed distant, preoccupied, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As we stood in the doorway, the cold air swirling around us, he told me that he was going to leave the gift at my house. I felt a surge of frustration, my skin prickling with annoyance, and I told him to take it home. He hesitated, saying that he wanted to make it with me the first time, and I felt a pang of disappointment. Why didn't he want to take it home? Didn't he like it? The sound of my voice was laced with emotion as I asked him to take it home, to make it at his house, but he refused, his tone growing colder with each passing moment. I felt a lump form in my throat as he told me that he wanted to leave it at my house, and I knew that I had to stand firm. My mom had made it clear that she didn't want the machine to live at our house, and I couldn't just leave it there. The air seemed to vibrate with tension as I told him that he needed to let my mom know why it was staying at our house. And then, without warning, he blew up at me. His voice was like a slap in the face, the words cutting deep into my skin. Why on earth would you buy this thing? He demanded, his tone dripping with disdain. It's too much money, and I'm never going to use it. You should never have bought it. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. The wind knocked out of me. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes as I stared at him, shocked and hurt by his sudden outburst. The sound of my own voice was barely above a whisper as I asked him why he was being so cruel. The texture of the floor beneath my feet seemed to shift, like the ground was giving way beneath me. He taunted me, his words like a knife twisting in my heart. This is exactly like that stupid Apple Watch, he sneered, his voice dripping with malice. You never listen to me, and you always do what you want. The ringing in my ears was like a cacophony of pain, a reminder of the hurt and frustration that I felt. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of emotions, the touch of frustration burning my skin like a fire. The temperature of the cold winter evening seemed to drop even further, the chill of the air seeping into my bones. I was frozen in place, unable to move or speak, as he continued to berate me. The smell of the night air, once crisp and clean, now seemed to be filled with the stench of disappointment and hurt. I felt like I was walking through a nightmare, the darkness closing in around me like a shroud. The sound of his voice, once music to my ears, now seemed to be a discordant note, a reminder of the pain and heartache that he was causing me. As I stood there, the tears streaming down my face, I felt like I was losing myself in the darkness. The touch of his hand, once warm and comforting, now seemed to be a distant memory, a reminder of the love and connection that we once shared. The temperature of the evening seemed to drop even further, the cold seeping into my bones like a chill. I was trapped in a world of pain and hurt, the sound of his voice echoing in my mind like a mantra of despair. The texture of the floor beneath my feet seemed to shift and writhe, like a living thing. As I struggled to come to terms with the reality of our situation, the smell of the night air, once filled with promise and possibility, now seemed to be a reminder of the heartache and disappointment that lay ahead. As I stood there, frozen in time, I felt like I was staring into the abyss, the darkness staring back at me like a mirror. The touch of frustration burned my skin, the temperature of the evening dropping to a chill that seemed to seep into my very soul. I was lost in a world of pain and hurt, the sound of his voice echoing in my mind like a reminder of the love that we once shared, now lost forever. Pause 1. I stood in the living room, the soft glow of the evening sun casting a warm light on the space. The air was thick with the scent of freshly brewed coffee, a reminder of the lazy morning we had spent together. My heart was racing with excitement as I handed him the gift, a neatly wrapped box with a bright red bow tied around it. I had spent hours agonizing over what to get him, and I was convinced that this was the perfect choice. As he unwrapped the box, a look of surprise crossed his face, followed by a hint of excitement. "Wow, an ice cream maker," he exclaimed, his eyes scanning the device with interest. I beamed with pride, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. I had done it. I had found the perfect gift. But as the day wore on, I started to notice a change in his demeanor. He seemed distant, preoccupied, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It wasn't until he mentioned leaving the ice cream maker at my house that I started to feel a sense of unease. "No, take it home," I said, trying to sound casual. "We can make it at your house." He hesitated, his eyes darting around the room before finally settling on me. "I don't know, Ava," he said, his voice laced with a hint of annoyance. "I don't really have space for it at my place." I felt a lump form in my throat as I realized that he didn't want the gift. The room seemed to grow quieter, the only sound the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I tried to push the feeling aside, telling myself that I was being paranoid. But as he continued to hesitate, I knew that I had made a mistake. It wasn't until he blew up at me, his words cutting deep into my soul, that I realized the true extent of my error. "Why on earth would you buy this thing?" he shouted, his face red with anger. "It's too much money, Ava. I'm never going to use it." I felt a stinging sensation in my eyes as tears began to well up. The room seemed to spin around me, the colors blurring together as I struggled to process his words. I had thought that this gift was perfect, that it would bring us closer together. But now, it seemed like a cruel joke. "This is exactly like that stupid Apple Watch," he said, his voice dripping with venom. "You never listen to me, Ava. You just do what you want, without ever considering my feelings." The words cut deep, each one a sharp stab to my heart. I felt like I was drowning, the weight of his anger and disappointment crushing me. I tried to speak, to defend myself, words caught in my throat. All I could do was stand there, frozen in shock, as he continued to berate me. The sound of my own heartbeat was deafening. A pounding drumbeat that seemed to grow louder with each passing moment. I felt like I was going to collapse, like my legs were going to give out beneath me. The room seemed to grow darker, the shadows deepening as the light faded away. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, everything went quiet. The shouting stopped, the anger dissipating like a deflated balloon. He stood before me, his chest heaving with exertion, his eyes blazing with a mixture of anger and hurt. I felt a sense of numbness wash over me, a cold detachment that seemed to separate me from the world around me. I was aware of the sensation of my feet touching the floor, the soft carpet, a gentle caress against my skin, but everything else seemed distant, muffled, as if I was observing the scene from outside my body. The air was thick with tension, the silence between us a heavy, oppressive weight. I knew that I had to say something to break the silence and try to salvage what was left of our relationship. But the words caught in my throat, refusing to budge. All I could do was stand there, frozen in shock, as the reality of the situation sank in. I had thought that this gift would bring us closer together, but instead, it had driven us further apart. The ice cream maker, once a symbol of my love and affection, now seemed like a cruel joke, a reminder of my own foolishness. As the silence stretched out, I felt a sense of despair wash over me. I knew that I had to do something to try and repair the damage that had been done. But as I looked into his eyes, I saw a deep-seated anger and hurt, a sense of betrayal that seemed to go far beyond the gift itself. And in that moment, I knew that our relationship was on the brink of collapse. The gift, once a symbol of our love, had become a symbol of our dysfunction, a reminder of the deep-seated issues that had been simmering beneath the surface. I felt a sense of sadness wash over me, a sense of loss and regret that seemed to echo through every cell of my body. As I stood there, frozen in shock, I knew that I had to make a choice. I could try to salvage what was left of our relationship, to work through the issues and try to rebuild what had been broken, or I could walk away, to leave the past behind and start anew. The decision seemed to weigh heavily on me, a crushing burden that threatened to consume me whole. But as I looked into his eyes, I knew that I had to make a choice. I had to decide whether to fight for our relationship or to let it go. The fate of our love hung in the balance, and I knew that the decision I made would change the course of our lives forever.
Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Reed, a clinical psychologist with a specialization in interpersonal relationships and trauma. I've been asked to analyze the situation of Ava Morales and Ethan Thompson, a complex and emotionally charged case that warrants a thorough examination. As I delve into the details of their story, I must emphasize that my assessment will be based on the information provided. And it's essential to note that a comprehensive understanding of their situation can only be achieved through direct interaction and observation. From what I've gathered, Ava Morales and Ethan Thompson were involved in a romantic relationship that was marked by intense emotional highs and lows. Their bond was forged in the fires of passion, but it was also fraught with underlying issues that ultimately led to its demise. As I dissect their relationship, I'm reminded of the concept of attachment theory, which suggests that our early experiences with caregivers influence our expectations and behaviors in future relationships. It's possible that Ava and Ethan's attachment styles were incompatible, leading to a toxic dynamic that was difficult to sustain. Ava, in particular, appears to have been deeply invested in the relationship, with a strong emotional dependence on Ethan. Her actions and decisions seem to have been driven by a desire to maintain the connection, even when it became clear that it was no longer healthy for her. This behavior is reminiscent of the trauma bonding phenomenon, where individuals become intensely attached to their partner due to the cyclical nature of abuse and rescue. It's essential to recognize that Ava's actions were likely a coping mechanism, a desperate attempt to hold on to something that was slipping away. Ethan, on the other hand, seems to have struggled with his own emotional demons, which may have contributed to the tumultuous nature of their relationship. His behavior, as reported, suggests a lack of emotional intelligence and empathy, which can be damaging to a partner who is already vulnerable. It's possible that Ethan's actions were a manifestation of his own unresolved trauma, which can lead to a pattern of hurtful behavior in relationships. As I analyze the situation, I'm struck by the deep-seated emotional pain that both Ava and Ethan appear to have experienced. Their relationship was likely a complex web of codependency, with each partner fulfilling a specific role in the other's emotional landscape. Ava's need for validation and love was met with Ethan's need for control and admiration, creating a toxic cycle that was difficult to break. It's essential to acknowledge that both Ava and Ethan are responsible for their actions, and it's not my intention to place blame or judgment on either party. However, as a clinician, it's my duty to highlight the underlying dynamics that may have contributed to the relationship's demise. By examining the emotional currents that flowed between Ava and Ethan, we can gain a deeper understanding of the psychological forces that drove their behavior. In my experience, relationships like Ava and Ethan's often require a nuanced and multifaceted approach to healing. It's not simply a matter of assigning blame or fault, rather. It's about acknowledging the complex interplay of emotions, trauma, and attachment styles that contributed to the relationship's dynamics. As a therapist, my goal would be to help both Ava and Ethan develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their emotional needs, as well as to provide them with the tools and strategies necessary to navigate future relationships in a healthier, more constructive manner. Ultimately, the situation between Ava Morales and Ethan Thompson serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in human relationships. As a clinician, it's my responsibility to approach such cases with empathy, compassion, and a deep understanding of the psychological forces at play. By doing so, we can work towards creating a safer, more supportive environment for individuals to explore their emotions, heal from past traumas, and cultivate healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future.